We've all been there where we're trying to schedule something with someone and they're like, oh, I don't have my calendar in front of me. It's not the 90s anymore. It really does make you kind of feel the type of way about that person of just like, oh, they're unorganized. Are you wrapping cars more than 12 hours a day, every day? Working nonstop but can barely get by? Burnout, missing deadlines, and wondering just how much longer you can keep this up?
That was us too. We started our wrap shop buried under $250,000 in debt, and it felt absolutely impossible. But we dug out, built a profitable shop, and are still in the trenches of owning and operating a wrap shop. We're here to share what we learned along the way so that you don't make the same mistakes that we did.
And we're here to help you with the business side of the wraps, like pricing, building a team, streamlining your systems, ultimately so that you can run your shop and your shop stops running you.
Welcome to the Wrap Ops Podcast, brought to you by Wrap Fam Unleashed. 90% of your life is definitely all about showing up. And especially when you own a small business, it is really crucial to make sure that you are making it to all of your meetings and all of your obligations. And you would be amazed how many times we have something set with someone and they miss it, didn't know that it was happening, they had the wrong date, blah, blah, blah. So how do you avoid this so that you can come across as a professional and really represent your shop? That is what today's episode is about. So today's a pretty quick and easy, tangible episode over something that's slightly silly, but I think worth a small conversation. And that is the importance of a digital calendar. And I really want to hit home here on the digital. We have a lot of people that are set on their paper calendar, and it is time to throw that in the garbage can and be done with the paper calendar. And we just need to leave it behind.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hey, paper calendar is better than no calendar, but come on now. It's not the 90s anymore.
The digital calendars are free. We personally love a Google Calendar. There's also Microsoft Outlook if you're an Outlook person, and I'm sure there's even other ones out there. But today we're going to share with you our top tips on how you can really maximize the efficiency of your calendar. If you didn't know, Andrew is a big calendar Nazi and recruited me to his club. For reference, he used to tell me to schedule my own dates, which used to make me really mad, but now I actually really like it and I do it pretty often. And I kind of get what I want because I just put in the calendar.
Yeah.
Go to this place for dinner. And I'll be darned, he shows up and takes me to that place for dinner. So that's not really what we're talking about today. We're talking about putting your business on a digital calendar, but we have some cool tips and tricks that you can use to really just maximize the efficiency of it all. So take it away. You gonna go with the first one?
Yeah, absolutely. So first one, kind of the whole point of what our emphasis on the digital calendar is really that access 24/7 to it. It just really helps, especially with what I do. I do a lot of networking where I'm in a meeting talking to people about scheduling another meeting, whether that's another networking event or just, a volunteer or FIG event that we could potentially sponsor. Or I'm just connecting with the person and they're like, oh, I'd love for you to come out and look at our office and the wall wraps. And I have ideas. I don't have to be like, well, give me your card. I'll call you when I'm in front of my calendar. It's just real quick. I can pull my phone out and be like, okay, Tuesday at 10 a.m. I'm free. Can I come? Stop by your office, whatever. So yeah, the big step one to getting on a strong calendar game is really that 24/7 access. So we use Google Calendar as kind of our choice or preference or whatever. There's obviously other calendars out there, but that's a good free one. It's on my phone, my computer, a tablet,
And it works for anything, like even when you're making appointments, like personally, so that you can see exactly what you have going on at work and at home, all the way down to when Andrew's mom asked to have dinner with us. Like we immediately pull out the calendar and see even if we're booking it 4 weeks out. So it seems really nerdy, but that access on your phone is crucial. And that's why we're anti-paper calendars, because the odds of you having that on your person are very, very slim.
Yeah.
So that's the first one, is why you should have it. Access 24/7.
Mm-hmm. And it also just, we've all been there where we're trying to schedule something with someone and they're like, oh, I don't have my calendar in front of me. And, it's not the 90s anymore. It really does make you kind of feel the type of way about that person of just like, oh, they're unorganized or whatever, where if that person you're talking to immediately is able to pull out their calendar and get something done and scheduled, really just gives a good just perception of you, with you having the calendar and being able to do that. It's just a good perception of like, okay, this person gets stuff done.
So if you have a paper calendar, Andrew is judging you.
A little, yeah, obviously. Yeah, sorry.
Unless you pull it out of your pocket right there in front of him, then maybe you'd be like, okay, they carry it with them everywhere. I think your grandma does that.
Now we're talking to business owners. So if this podcast was about how to set up your life for retirement and the 4-hour work week, and you wake up in the morning and sip your tea and do your yoga and just go where the day takes you, then sure, be like, yeah, I only do paper calendar because that's just who I am. But
yeah, but if you own a wrap shop, it's time to go digital.
if you're a high functioning entrepreneur, it's time to have a digital 24/7.
Which goes to really our next point here, which is also with the digital calendar, you can share it, meaning like they can see it with multiple people. So me and Andrew are on a calendar together, so I can easily toggle his name off and on to like get rid of his stuff, to only see my stuff, or I can see both of our stuff. So a lot of the times before I even call him and say, "What are you doing?" I just check his calendar and I can say, "Oh, okay, he's already in a meeting with someone." And then I know I'll catch you after that meeting. And that being said, our front desk person also has access to both of our calendars. So she can see if we're in a meeting or something like that. And we can also see anything she schedules for the shop. That being said, we do not schedule our like wrap appointments on Google Calendar.
Right.
You could use that. We do ours through a CRM. But if you don't have a CRM, then that's a good place to start. And I believe we used to do that in the very beginning, was just book on a Google Calendar.
Like our emails and the way that you can set it up on Google, which is a little into the weeds, but what she's talking about where you can toggle it on and off, like I have pretty much Andrew at Performance Wraps, you have Tanor at Performance Wraps, and then our main shop has Contact at Performance Wraps. All of those calendars are linked where there's just a little toggle where you could turn it on and off.
Yeah.
We used to schedule our installs on that Contact email one to where we could very quickly toggle it on and off to see like our work, like what wraps are coming in scheduled versus, Carter has a pediatrician appointment. So
yeah. And the reason that we actually switched to doing the calendar feature on the CRM was to kind of like be more professional with our team so that they could just see the work related task and not like Andrew has lunch with his grandma. Which isn't a huge deal, but we were trying to separate business and personal.
Yeah. And to that point, our front desk still sees what I have, dinner with my grandma.
Yeah.
Because she knows if someone's coming in and it actually seems like a good lead, like she's kind of the gatekeeper, but has direct access to my calendar and can book something if need be, or tell a customer what time would be a good time to stop by the shop.
Yeah, absolutely. So same thing, paper calendar, you don't have that ability to see exactly when the other person is doing something. And for me and you as owners, it helps because I can schedule our owners meeting and I don't really have to talk to you.
Yeah.
I just put it on the calendar. Or if I need to postpone, I just say that time doesn't work. I'm going to move it on the calendar. And it'll email him saying, Tanor suggested a new time, click yes or no on if you approve or not. So it kind of like gets rid of that conversation and just streamlines all of it. So it's really easy to do, which takes me to my third reason as to why the calendars are great, which you're really the expert at this one. So I'll let you do this one.
I absolutely love this one. So we use a tool called Calendly. It is a pay to play. I think there's a free version, but we spend like $100 a year or whatever it is.
Well, Google now has what he's referring to.
And Google does have it. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it does have a function built into it. But it's essentially a link. If someone wants to meet with me, I can send them a link to where they can just schedule their own
time that works for them. And it goes around the existing appointments already on the Google Calendar. Which is super cool.
And what's cool about it is you can set different meeting types. So for one of a very used one I have within my networking is actually just a one-to-one meeting with me for 45 minutes. It includes a shop tour and then like 30 minutes of just sit down one-on-one conversation. And it's built around the guidelines that I like baked into it. So when our kind of real busy time within the shop, kind of outside of those lunch hours and stuff like that, that is actually just blocked off all the time. No one can book that time. So there's only a few that are more opportune times for me to be able to sit down and actually give someone undivided attention times of my day.
So I think what you're trying to describe here is when you make these booking links, you can set parameters of I only want people to be able to book Tuesdays from 1 to 5.
Yeah.
So you can have open calendar where it's just going to pick, any open slot on your calendar, or you can minimize it to like only Tuesdays or, only mornings or whatever it may be. And you can even go in advance and block off dates that you may want free.
Yeah.
So,
and you can also put in, at least to the Calendly one, how many hours in advance they have to be able to book it.
Yeah, so you don't have like someone showing up in an hour.
So like the networking one I talked about, you can't book that today and see me today or even tomorrow. I think it's like a 2-day thing, or it might even be the next week. But our 15-minute phone call one, which literally in the description that the person will see when they sign up, literally says like, no BS, let's get straight to the point and, have the conversation. That one you could book today and talk to me today. Like that one is what it stands for. It's like, all right, let's just.
And that's the cool part too. You
Jump on a
can
phone call to get something done real quick.
The different meeting types can be Zoom, phone call, in person. And that's kind of cool. Like if you go to our website right now and if you're interested in being a manager for us, there's a button right on our website that says like, talk to management, book a call. And it goes straight to me and Andrew's calendar to book a call directly with us. Mostly to like remove the friction point of like scheduling. I don't want to say an interview because I wouldn't say that's an interview, but it's like if you're interested, let's have a quick conversation and then we'll go from there. And we do that on our higher level jobs, whereas our more entry level positions would be, here's an application on Indeed and things like that. But that being said, if you heard the previous episode on hiring and our onboarding process, all of our interviews are also booked using this automatic booking link. So it really comes in handy and it gets rid of that back and forth. And the other cool thing too is it lets the other party cancel or postpone.
Yeah.
So it's nice. They don't have to call you and say, this happened. They can just go straight on there and cancel it and give a reason and book a new date.
It lets them cancel, let them reschedule. And then what's also cool, and these are all different like features when you set up your meeting type, basically. It also allows you to set up reminders.
Yeah.
So for someone could book a meeting with me in 2 months, and it will automatically send out email reminders and then a text reminder like an hour, a couple hours before or whatever, just reminding them of the meeting. And then what's even cool is you can even factor in or add in and after the meeting, reach out as well, just to say like, thank you for the time or whatever you want to set up as that default message that they get, an hour after they met with you. I live by this tool.
And like you said, Calendly is a pay-to-play one, but Google does have a free one. I use it for phone calls. It just doesn't have as many features. But if you just want to dabble in it and see what it's like and get a free version, I would start with the Google one. And that is super nice. And another thing on that too, if you're listening and you aren't a wrap shop owner, or maybe you have very limited services or something like that, you could technically use a booking software and have your customers book their own appointment. We have a great friend of ours who has a tent shop, and all of his window tent appointments are booked that way, not through Calendly, but through a different software. But if your business is conducive to that, then that would be great. We don't use it just because there's too many variables in what we're doing.
Will you use it on the consultation side though?
Yeah, we'll use it for sales and consultations and measurement appointments and things like that. But you can't go to our website and like jump on our calendar next week to get your car wrapped, just because there's just too many hoops that we need to jump through and things like that. But for window tent, he has it pretty like down on how much time it takes. And I believe he calls if he thinks it's going to go over and extends the time.
And I did one last hack to that until I would say we're probably done with using this kind of unrunning. But
we're not sponsored by Calendly.
We should be.
Mrs. Calendly, if you're listening, we're big fans.
One thing that kind of hack to that is, and I'll say this, but specific point in case is actually what we do on our front desk side is with all of these, you can text the link and they can find the time that works for them and whatever. But if you're actively on the phone with a potential customer, you can just go ahead and click the link through yourself, like on your desktop or whatever, while you're on the phone, and ask them, like, it'll show your own availability and be like, hey, does this time or this time work? Get their information, plug them in, lock them in, but then enter their email and phone and name so that it'll actually do those automated reminders and stuff like that.
Yeah. So if you have a front desk person, they can just pull up that Calendly link to book those appointments as if they were the person doing it remotely.
Yeah. And that's how we train when we get those inbound calls. They seem interested, and it's, that food truck that needs a consultation. You need to bring it by or whatever. Or color change. They want to see the color, whatever the reason is that they would need to book a meeting to come to the shop to talk more about it.
Yeah, we just send the link.
Is just don't just send the link, but talk to them, close the next meeting time in the call and just enter their information.
Mm-hmm. And that's a whole separate episode too of what to do from booking a consultation to getting them in and stuff like that. But anyhow, sticking to the calendar here. But we are going to take a slight pause and give a word to our new sponsors and let them share some things with you. And while that is happening, if you could take a minute and send this episode to a friend who maybe could use a little nudge when it comes to organization, maybe a buddy who has missed some appointments, or maybe a family or friend who just really could use a nudge on that calendar department.
Yeah.
So we will be right back.
After years of running a wrap shop, I've learned this. Your supplier should be a partner, not a question mark. That's why we trust Grimco. For over 5 years now, they have delivered on time and backed us when it mattered most. There's enough to manage in this business. Your supplier should not be one of them. Set up your new account today. Use code RAPOPS5 for 5% off your first order with Grimco.
Okay, welcome back. We are finishing up here our top reasons on why a digital calendar is critical to you for owning a small wrap shop, a small business. And we have 2 more things for you that could really help maximize your efficiency. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the number 4 is time blocking and pre-scheduling those repeat items. 2 kind of different things, but it's essentially managing your calendar for the things that aren't actually just me and you need to meet at this time. But the time blocking is just there is that thing that you need to get done. I'm probably poking or jabbing at a lot of you that probably haven't sat down and looked at your pricing structure or what you charge for, I don't know, the last 5 years. And that's something that's like, oh, I need to do that. I need to sit down and readjust our pricing and all of that. Time blocking is an absolutely beautiful thing. It requires some discipline because you're holding yourself accountable to the time. But putting that on the calendar, those big, you need to sit down for 2 to 4 hour time periods and just think and work on something. Perfect time to put a time block in your calendar and respect it and just put your phone on do not disturb, sit down and really focus on the thing that you told yourself proactively that you need to sit down and work on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, beautiful thing there from time blocking. That's you could probably go into a whole nother episode of just time blocking and the importance of that. But using a digital calendar is a beautiful way to actually do it. And then the other one is going to be pre-scheduling those repeat items. So if you're like us, every 2 weeks, you have payroll and you have to sit down and, make sure everyone's hours are good, make sure any bonuses or commissions or, whatever it means to you to run payroll. But that is a cost that happens, at least for us, every 2 weeks. And that is something you could just pre-schedule and you just know whatever it is, every Wednesday at 4 p.m., you sit down and knock out payroll.
Yeah. And the digital calendar is cool versus the paper because it will let you click like repeats every 4 weeks on Tuesday or whatever the custom repeat occurrence is.
Yeah. For us, inventory is another one. Mm-hmm. So that's a repeat thing on our calendar.
Our one-to-ones, production meetings.
Employee one-to-ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For production meetings, I think our owners meeting is another one.
But that's nice because every week it auto-populates on a calendar and then you plan everything else around it to where you're never like double booking. That used to happen all the time. Like we would book a measurement consultation and then be like, oh crap, we have the production meeting and I didn't even think about that. So when we use the automatic booking links, you cannot book us during our production meeting time frame. To someone viewing it, to like a customer trying to book it, it just looks like another meeting is happening.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look weird on their end or anything like that. But the pre-scheduling the repeat items is super cool. I do all of our even like event planning, marketing and things like that. So one thing is like, for example, in our area, and you probably have it in your town, we have like a best of Dayton, Ohio. Every year a day will come up that says, look into best of Dayton. And I just go to the link of the Best of Dayton and see if they're accepting the nominations so that I make sure I don't miss it. Sometimes they pick it on like different dates, but it's always in the same month. So I just know, oh, I need to check into this so that I don't forget it. But it's nice because since it's on the calendar as like a repeat thing, I can like delete it from my brain and just wait for it to show up. Another one is like ordering the team's Christmas gifts. That pops up in like October because before we've missed that because we waited way too long. All the way down to like booking the venue for the Christmas party, like that pops up and the dates are already pre-scheduled. So
birthdays are another one.
Yeah, annual occurrences, staff anniversaries. We have those pop up on the calendar every year so that we don't have to remember that. It just pops up. So it's really nice. So you can really automate a lot of things with that.
I think some of the like kind of more on the, I don't know, financial or nerdy side of running the business. So like the employee, at least for Ohio, the employee true ups, which is where you're paying workers' comp and all of that on estimates. But then once a year, you have to actually submit to show what your average employee count was and all of that. But I also have learned the hard truth of when you miss those deadlines, they penalize you pretty heavily. So just putting that as a reoccurring thing every year to like, okay, I need to sit down and make sure I submit the true ups this week. The monthly sales tax submissions, because those are another one. Like the government is not nice on missed deadlines. So just getting that stuff in your calendar, just reoccurring. So you're not relying. Pretty much the idea here with the calendar, common theme, is to not have to rely on memory.
Yeah, you're just automating everything.
You don't have to think about it.
And the digital one is just so cool because the more you add to it and set up these reoccurring things, the less you have to do later. Like I remember when the calendar was completely bare. And then now it's like you could look at our calendar right now 2 months out and be like, oh my gosh, this looks crazy packed. But it's just all those recurring items. And that also really helps when you have conferences, conventions, to have those in your calendar for later dates in advance. It especially helps when you're trying to build your team and staff. Like I can already tell our team, hey, every year we go to SEMA. So there's a week in November every year that manager will be gone. And that's kind of like a non-negotiable, will be gone. And it's on the calendar and that's what it is.
Into that kind of back and forth, not necessarily repeat, but to the time blocking standpoint, I think last month, so like in February, a local chamber reached out and asked if I would do a presentation for a lunch and learn in June about networking and primarily to an audience of newer networkers, but just how to approach networking as a professional. And anyway, it's going to require me to put some slides together and actually give like a full, I think I have like 45-minute presentation. I wasn't going to sit down right there immediately when I said yes and like, let me do all these slides and develop a presentation. But I went ahead and put a block in my calendar for a month prior to the actual event to sit down and actually, make the presentation. So that's another way of time blocking in advance. So yeah, small things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And our final point, and this one is touching a little bit more on the personal side of owning a small business. You might feel like you don't have any time off, or when you do have time off, maybe you're just watching Netflix, kind of feel like you're wasting it. I always recommend to take a minute to pre-plan your weekend if you take weekends off, maybe even your evening. I know once a week we have a date night. It's on a recurring thing, and that moves all the time. Literally tonight, it was in the calendar for date night, and I think it was either this morning or yesterday. I was like, is that real tonight? Or would you mind if we moved it to Friday? And we just bumped it to Friday. But regardless, it happens. The date might just move. But definitely take a minute to pre-plan your time off. It's pretty often on a Saturday. I'll tell you, we're going to the farmer's market and then we're doing this. And sometimes I'll even put like, we're doing nothing. Like I want to stay home and watch Netflix. But take a minute to actually plan that time off, and then you will feel like it is more valuable to you. Look up your local festivals and things like that. I feel like I always miss those until I started adding those to my calendar in advance. And so don't forget your calendar is good for personal as well.
Yeah, I was going to say to touch on that kind of personal or even volunteer, like whatever fills your tank, like if giving back and volunteering is a thing that you want to prioritize on your calendar. Like at the end of the day, it starts and ends with your calendar. So look up those volunteer opportunities and actually get them on your calendar. I'm a big fan of color coding. So my calendar is color coded to that. Volunteer is a color. networking is a color, personal stuff is a color. And that way you kind of at a glance just see where you're, kind of where you're spending your time just in general. And I even have like side hustle stuff as a color that is on my calendar just to make sure that, my side hustle extracurricular stuff isn't taking too much away from the main thing and, my real job kind of thing. So, yeah, no, that's kind of where I was going with that. Our very first coach is actually the responsible for that date night that we do now. And that was probably the first time personal made it onto the calendar
Yeah.
because the calendar was all work, only work. I didn't think about any other bucket. And that was pretty much his, he like refused to coach us professionally until we established a date night every week. And that was like the first thing that went on the calendar, and it repeated every week that we had to at least have one evening where we just, focused on each other and our relationship.
Yep. And now it's to the point like our entire summer break, we actually plan out. So we plan out if we're doing a little like weekend trip or something like that. And that makes it a lot easier to follow. That being said, it's not always perfect. There are times we've had to cancel something because something went wrong with the shop and we just couldn't make it. But I would say 90% of the time, those weekend plans come true.
Yeah.
And if they weren't pre-put on the calendar, I don't think we would ever take the time off. We would just work right through it. So.
And that, a whole other podcast sidestep from the calendar by doing that once a year where we actually go through the entire year. We look at, when is the RAP Summit, when is the ISA show, when is RAPSCon, when is SEMA, getting them, when is our personal, like when are we going to go to the lake, getting all of that onto a calendar. But then we do the extra mile of backtracking and putting budgets to it so that all year we are saving up for trips and travel so that it's not, holy crap, I'm supposed to be, in Las Vegas next week for SEMA. I haven't booked a hotel. I haven't even put money aside to afford that trip.
Yeah. And when you book items on a digital calendar too, there is an option to add PDFs, documents, text, things like that. So like SEMA is a good example because I can go through every SEMA for the past 5 years and I've put how much money we've spent in the description of that calendar event that was on there. So sometimes when I'm like trying to like, can we stay at this hotel? He's like, well, what did we spend last year? And I'm like, okay, we're bumping up $100.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's try it because Vegas is fun and I like to try different hotels.
Yeah.
But anywho, that's another cool thing about digital versus paper is that you can add so many more elements to it, all the way down to like on a nerdy side. I have like a cookie baking day for Christmas because I love to bake. And it actually has a document with all of my cookie recipes I like to make and the shopping list that I need to have before I go. And that auto populates every year on a certain date so that I don't have to rethink my grocery list. Because I think that took me like 2 hours to put together. And I was like, I don't want to do this again. So I'm just going to save this as a document and let it repopulate. That's like kind of nerdy expert level of what you can do with the calendar, but it's pretty magical. You can really like systematize your whole life to like a creepy degree. Even like water the plants is on my calendar every Sunday. So because I kill all my plants.
It's reoccurring. anything reoccurring can go to your calendar and you don't have to think about it. Just the notification.
Yeah. And I don't think we typically miss anything. We will reschedule.
Yeah.
If, we see that something came up, there was a conflict or whatever, but it's pretty nice. So if you are not using a digital calendar, this is my beg and plea for you to please. It is time to make the switch.
It's time to make the jump. Yeah. You have to be on a digital calendar.
Yeah.
Have to.
Yeah. It's great. So if you have any questions or anything for us, we would love to hear from you. You can email us at info@rapops.com. Check us out on our website. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on all the stuff. And we would love it if you liked and subscribed and shared this with someone. So that's all we got for this week. And if you heard weird noises, we have a baby now and he is in my arms. And we'll get a babysitter one day. But for now, he is on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, alrighty, we will see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening.
The Rap Institute, the largest online rap training platform, now with a special offer. Use our code RAPOPS15 for 15% off your order.